Hey guys, and welcome to the THS YouTube channel. Today we had an interview with Michael Weikath of Helloween, where we got to talk to him about their new album and some of the stuff involving their tour upcoming, the United Forces tour with Hammerfall, and then even some stuff after that, some stuff for a US tour. It's a really exciting interview. I'm really happy that I got to sit down with him and have a nice conversation about all things heavy metal and all things Helloween. I guess with how are you doing today? How's your night going?
Well, my night is fine. I woke up at like 5 in the afternoon and then I went to get awake, kinda.
Mm-hmm.
I had some pizza calzone in the meantime and then just got back home and I'm kinda almost ready for anything.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So I guess we'll just get right into it. Well, you guys have Helloween obviously has the new album coming out on the 18th of June. With the, I guess we're going to call it the Pumpkins United lineup. Were there any sort of like pandemic related troubles with recording it or anything like that you guys had to go through?
Just a little bit, because one night I had to stay at the studio because the local police wouldn't let the taxi driver come through.
Oh, wow.
And that was the only occasion, because we had to learn how to deal with those measures and stuff, and we understood that if you go back a little earlier, it's fine, just that 11 at night they didn't like so much. And then we had finished most of all the stuff before the lockdowns kicked in. And so luckily there was just a bit of stuff left, like solos, melody guitars, stuff, and some rhythm guitars, some vocals. I mean, Michael Kiske was still here on the island when it happened, but we could continue for a few weeks anyways, because like moving around at certain times for business reasons was allowed. So as long as you stuck to the imaginary schedule that would say, like, you gotta be home by 10:30 or whatever that was, then you were basically okay. So we managed to finish everything. But as I said, I mean, the biggest part we had already done.
Okay, that's just a quick. When did you guys start actually writing and recording the album?
Some started right after the tour, and I started in February. So I mean, some may have started in November, December, or what. I started in February, and I ended in April. Then we had a meeting mid of April in Hamburg and played all the demos to each other, and also had like the majority of all the tracks that you get to see on the running order on that album. Except for the Skyfall, that was finished by November, December, when we were having the pre-production in Hamburg, in that home studio, which formerly was called Chateau du Pape, where we had recorded a few other albums before.
Okay, you have 3 writing credits on the album, and there are previous Helloween albums where you've done a lot of the heavy lifting, like Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2 or whatever. Is that a conscious decision from the band to sort of limit it to a certain number of credits, or was it just a thing of like, oh, everybody has a bunch of good material, so we're just going to work it out?
Yeah, that first of all, and also because, I mean, I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do 5 tracks or 4 or 3, and after I finished the 3, I knew that if I wanted to do yet another one, that would have taken me a lot more time than mid of April, where we wanted to compare stuff. And I was also figuring that we have 5 composers for this time around, and if just everyone came up with just 3 tracks, I mean, the Darius has 5, then you're already there with 15 tracks. So I thought it'd be okay, if I just do 3, that would be about just fine, with leaving some space for others or whatever. I think like the idea is like everyone has about 3 tracks or what, but that's just my own humble opinion. And so then what you see on the running order is just what we already had when we met, and then it was kind of haggled out what would be like bonus track or B-side, or that's it.
Okay. this is your guys', it's not your first song with three guitarists. Obviously, that was Pumpkins United, but you do have a couple songs on here, like Skyfall and Pumpkins United from 2017, where you guys have like 2 and 3 singers on the album. Was that like a refreshing sort of thing for you from a songwriting standpoint, where you have this whole new avenue to work with? Like, I know when Iron Maiden added Adrian Smith back, they talked about how it was awesome to have 3 guitarists for the parts. So was it a similar situation with you?
Yeah, I believe that. No, we didn't really, except for, we played the 3 guitars, and then we have several layers that need to be played in the twin or a 3 vocal thing. Then you just got to sort out what everyone has got to play, right? Because I always played this line this way. Yeah, you always did. Me too, right? And then you gotta find another level, like another third or whatever harmony you would play on there. And with the rhythm guitars, you can go like, okay, I'm gonna add like a third meow meow here or something that it sounds cute and nice. But basically, we were lucky to have the sound engineer for live and the Charlie Bauerfeind for the live recordings on the Blu-ray and the Live in Madrid thing. And that's just what he said he wants to have for the studio as well, that like everyone plays his bit of rhythm guitar, so he can finally choose what's rocking best. Like the rude roughness, that's going on the live recordings, but still ordered so that it's like a humongous impact, it's like a blow, right? And that's what Charlie Bauerfeind also wanted to have on the studio situation. And so that just comes along natural. I mean, we were all surprised. We were all thinking like, 3 guitars, is that like cool or what? And then we were actually surprised, and there's one good thing about it. If you have twin vocal lines going now, finally you have the Sasha, for instance, who gladly plays like some mean rhythm guitar. And it's actually doubtful if any of the Kai Hansen or me, could equally come up with like the way he plays like a real sober, real, fun rhythm guitar, because like technically he's a very good guitarist. So when he goes to play some rhythm guitar, it's a different thing than if any other guy would play some mean rhythm guitar. That's like a different thing. So we got that advantage as well, and that's is sounding so massive, when you got to hear it that way. And we're surprised. It's just coming along somehow. Everyone plays, and then you got this. Luckily, I mean, there's some guitarists who would never fit to each other, never blend in. And so we're lucky on that concern.
You guys have 2 new videos out from the album. You have the one for Skyfall, which is sort of the big production with a bunch of the sci-fi elements and stuff like that. Just how was the experience filming for that video? Like, there's a lot that goes into it. What was sort of some of the ideas, and how did some of those ideas come up for the video?
Well, I think the Kai Hansen, he had some kind of imaginary video script ready for scenes that he would have liked or whatever, and so he talked to the Häusler who does that video, and he said, I could imagine, and I'd like to have that scene with the alien crash landing and stuff, and that basically mostly came from him. And yeah, there's going to be another video for Best Time, probably, which will be conceived eventually, and I know there's work at an animated video, kind of cute, for the end of the year for Out for the Glory. But I mean, before the album release, you're gonna have Best Time as well. So you got the Skyfall, the Fear of the Fallen, you got the Best Time. And then afterwards, I don't know for what reason, maybe just, for having cuddly animations or something, you're gonna have some Out for the Glory for the end of the year, and I don't really know what's really being planned with that or not.
Okay. So let's just, I guess, go a little bit back in Helloween's history, you've written like a pretty decent chunk of what I would consider to be their best song or your best songs. What are just some of your favorites to play live, or are there any that you haven't played live that you would want to play live?
Uh, that's a hard thing to say, and I can only say, I enjoy what's coming along and works easily, right? If there's something you have to have like a great effort for, or there's like lots to memorize, or other stuff where you gotta try really hard, to play that one line or what, then you'd go like, it's that thing with that riff again. But that's natural, and that's why you rehearse, and some parts actually you got to keep fresh in your fingers, otherwise you won't be able to play it properly. So that means you have to sit down eventually sometime before the show or what, and go over these things. I have a little list of things that I got to be aware of, so I don't F it up. And sometimes it's just a matter of speed of your fingers, that you're able to do that right then. And in contrast to if you didn't rehearse it before, then you probably wouldn't be fast enough in a live situation, even with adrenaline or whatever. You maybe would have said like, okay, this didn't go the right way, maybe I should have rehearsed it before. So there's a few of those things. And then naturally you prefer the tracks that run just by themselves, just so. But I mean, there's no particular tracks I would tell.
Okay.
There's just too much of that stuff. I mean, I always enjoyed playing Steel Tormentor. Now the Steel Tormentor isn't in the running order for now, but something like that's one of my own ones. I'm sorry, I'd like to play Twilight of the Gods, if you ask me. And from what I understood, there's going to be a great possibility that it will also happen next time round. But there's that other thing that Soul Survivor. You can always go and play some Soul Survivor. That's not hard. That's enjoyable.
I remember when, because I saw you guys for the first time on the Pumpkins United tour in Hollywood when you guys played at the Palladium, and I particularly remember Soul Survivor really just destroying the crowd. Like the pit was pretty crazy for that song.
And that's cool, because on that day we had like some harsh travel schedule, and almost everyone didn't have enough sleep. We were all kind of wired, and oh god, I didn't sleep enough. I think it was like 2.5 hours or what, and then you were waiting for the show, and everyone was kind of pretty finished, if you didn't have like enough coffee in the meantime or what. I remember that show quite clearly. And actually, I really enjoyed the rendition of A Tale That Wasn't Right of that evening. That was
a great moment in that concert. I really it's one of the ones I remember.
With LA, that thing, we've been welcomed quite heartily. Like the recent few times we were there. It's actually astonishing, or it's a pleasure, to come to LA, knowing from how it was before, because it was surprising to a bunch of Germans coming there with like the musicians, police, and everyone. But so that makes it like a special occasion each time. It's just like now today you got to prove that you can still do it, right? Because I mean, they're going to be the first to tell you that you did some big bullshit or whatever. And so you're always kind of aware of that when you appear there on whatever stage in Los Angeles, right? And so that's always something special in particular. Or the other time when we played, then we would come back another 3 months later, and we still had the Key Club filled, right? Like it was the Key Club, and 3 months later it was the Key Club again. That was really odd and awkward, but cool.
Speaking of
the Key Club.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of that, just for the U.S. fans, I did ask some people in a Helloween group on Facebook what are some of the questions you wanna see. A lot of the U.S. fans were asking when can we expect a tour, and will it be longer or bigger than the Pumpkins United tour? Because I know there were a lot of places that you guys didn't get to hit that you might have wanted to hit on that tour.
yeah, because of all that COVID stuff, it had to be postponed from the dates that were already set for this year,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's dates for next year. So, and personally, I hope it's going to be dealt with and be fine. That we can also usher in these shows. That are being set out to public. Where it says Helloween show there and then.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so. I just don't know. Just seems the Americans will know when we will announce any kind of dates for that territory.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I could say much about it right now, but naturally I'm hoping for the best.
Okay.
As you may guess.
That's the best that we can get at this time.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. You guys do have the United Forces tour with Hammerfall, and then you also have the rescheduled United Alive 2 shows as well. Are there any sort of surprises that you guys might have in store for the set list for those? Like, I know a lot of people were asking about songs from Chameleon or Pink Bubbles Go Ape or some of the other Andy Darius albums that didn't get hit on the Pumpkins United tour.
Yeah, well, right now there's considerations being made about that, but I can't say anything. It's to be expected that there's going to be at least 4 tracks of the new album to be played, and that's when you get into trouble, when you run into trouble with setlist planning and whatever. As I said, I'd like to play the Twilight of the Gods somehow, and then the trouble is with like the bass set that you have to deliver, and the time of the set that you want to assume that you go like, okay, last time we played 3 hours, that was a bit much, so you're going for a little less, you're going for 2 hours or 2.5 or whatever, and this exactly is kind of going to configure what is the final set list. And maybe you will exchange some tracks, to make it more interesting. So on one day you play this, the other day you play that, but it's not going to be an entirely different set. That's impossible. We cannot remember all that stuff or whatever. It's okay if there's 2 or 3 songs to be exchanged or whatever. And I don't know, really. But yeah, I mean, I get it. It's great, that the fans want to know. They're like really, really interested. We're just trying to do as good as we can under the given circumstances, right? Yep,
that's all we can ask for. Just going back to the new album, of your 3 tracks that you have written, is there one that you're most proud of, or one that you're most excited for people to hear, or just all 3 of them? You just love all 3 of them?
Yeah, it's nice to have something like Out for the Glory, and that's it. I mean, if you want to talk about the Robot King or the Down in the Dumps, these are tracks where people may say, but he didn't put the anthemic chorus there as we're used to by him. And then I can write 3 Out for the Glories, and never change anything about my approach of songwriting. And so naturally I hope that all of the tracks that I've done, will find their way into the hearts of the fans, and they will love it and take it for themselves, for something to remember, like a time in summer or whatever you may do, that's not to be talked about at best. And then whatever, I mean, I'm just glad I did those 3 things. I'm pretty happy and proud of those. And that's okay, you can do worse.
Okie dokie. Just going back to the album art for it, I know the first time I saw it, it was sort of like breathtaking, and then immediately like, I want that on a t-shirt like right now. So did you guys have any input on the album art? Because it obviously has the Keeper character and then some other details in the background and the foreground. What were some of did you guys have any input on that album cover or not?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it started with that Keeper and the clock, and then that was basically it. And then someone would say, the Darius said, I want to have the magic rings. Someone said, oh, we need the trumpet player from the Walls of Jericho. Someone else said this and that. I heard even the Dr. Steen is somewhere, but I didn't see it. I have no idea. I checked the cover and I can't make out any Dr. Steen somewhere yet. Maybe someone can tell me, but it's an amazing artwork. It's pretty impressive, and it'll serve its purpose, right?
Mm.
And we also have the Marcus Moura from Brazil, who will probably come up with like a few fun projects, like recently for the Fear of the Fallen, which must have struck a nerve with a few people. And he's always so proud when he had a good idea or whatever. He sends me like the newest project, which will come out probably on the next day on Instagram or whatever, and then he goes like, I had this crazy idea, have a look, check this out. And then it's great. I think he will come up with a few more t-shirt motifs and stuff. Yeah. Motifs for t-shirts, t-shirt artwork, t-shirt whatever.
So just looking forward to the future of Helloween. The new album is coming out. It seems like all is right in Helloween world. Is this just like a one-off thing, or is there a plan to keep going with this current lineup? I know a lot of people were asking like, are Michael Kiske and Kai Hansen permanent members of the band at the moment, or is it just like a one-off thing?
That's what we intended to express with dropping the Pumpkins United moniker,
Mm-hmm.
which will obviously be there for the tour because the artwork and everything was out and blah blah blah. But we went like, can we skip that with Pumpkins United and call it just Helloween?
Mm-hmm.
And that was also the main reason to Sasha later on asked. We had a few ideas for album titles, but why not call it just Helloween in the middle of a career, as like a turning point or a new beginning or whatever, to somehow express like the unity of characters involved. And we're trying to keep that up as long as we can. We're trying to go on with that because it's really cool for everyone involved, and it's magic and it's a good thing. I think there's something behind it that you cannot, otherwise recreate or whatever, with less members or what. And seemingly everybody is like feeling very good about this whole thing. We're all pretty proud. And what else is there that you could wish for, basically? I think it'd be a wrong move to just go, I'm so bored, and I thought I've always been the prima ballerina, I can do my stuff myself a lot better, what do I need Helloween for? I don't know. It's like we try to keep going with this as long as we can.
Okie doke. Were there any sort of influences on this album? I know Helloween, the band, is influenced a lot by like Judas Priest and sort of like Iron Maiden and that sort of era of heavy metal. Was there anything that you were influenced by or trying to like, not copy, but
No, I wouldn't know, but I can tell you for the Robot King, the first riff is supposed to be like real old-time Judas Priest.
Mm-hmm.
And then that same very riff, very quickly changes into something like Scorpions of the time when Uli Ross was there, like Virgin Killer or something in trance could be. And then there's these other parts, or the slow part in the Robot King, I always thought could have easily been on the first Peter Gabriel solo record, played by Andy Summers or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't know. I mean, we don't, we didn't have those things necessary in a way, because like we were quite capable of playing a proper guitar back then when we started. It was just that obviously people want to compare stuff, and when you say Maiden, I've been very angry when they came out, and I didn't have a record contract yet. But the thing was, I was too young, obviously. They were a little bit older. They're like roughly 8 to 10 years older than we are, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so, maybe they got a record contract earlier, and back then it wasn't logical to get a record contract from anywhere. You had to do a few things for that. And so you also had to work and rehearse hard. And that's basically what we did. if people want to compare it, I mean, yeah, sometimes you take some things of your idols and incorporate it in the whole thing, but basically what we came up with back then was more or less original, more or less, right? It's evident when it's not, but it's also not so evident when it isn't. When you go like, okay, this is something that really I came up with, you know, fuck Iron Maiden or anyone else, right? That's just the way it is. But then, you know, if you're having a good point on the day and you don't really care so much, you go like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna honor this or the other band, put something in there that's kind of similar. I mean that's fun, right? I mean, I've done so much stuff. I don't really mind if I, you know, just have to put something there that's reminiscent of someone else,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But then I like it to be that it's not a rip-off or something. It's just, you know, pointing in that direction what sounds like it or something. You know, that's at least the way I prefer things. You know? Yeah. What was the question?
I was trying to get at something like if there was a certain song, like I know a lot of people say like Steel Tormentor is sort of inspired by Judas Priest. If there was something like that.
That's true. That's true because, you know, I wrote that for myself because like the Judas Priest were having a different kind of era going that I didn't like so much. And so in order to, you know, to have like a new Judas Priest song, I had to write that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like the fun aspect about it. Truly. Yeah, you're right. Okay. But it's not a rip-off.
Yeah, oh yeah, I wasn't saying that at all. It's a great song. I love that song.
No.
I guess finally, just to wrap it up, I know it's sort of a trendy question to ask in these types of interviews, but who is your metal or your rock god in your life?
That's well, I mean, it started with the Beatles and Helter Skelter. Then you had like the Who with Pinball Wizard or something. Like with Elton John singing it or something, and then you had the Ted Nugent, you had the Brian May and Queen,
Mm-hmm.
you had the Wishbone Ash guys, you had Michael Schenker and UFO,
Mm-hmm.
you had the Scorpions with Oli Ross, and you had where did I stop? Van Halen and then Malmsteen. You had Alcatraz with Graham Bonnet. You had Rainbow.
Oh, I love Alcatraz.
Yeah, right, and stuff like that. You know, it's like it's a steady story that's unfolding. There was Kansas, Point of No Return stuff. You know, the people we never talk about, like the Sweet, the Bay City Rollers, ELO, right? The Move.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever, Wizard, See My Baby Jive, Wishing Well, Free, Led Zeppelin, whatever, and it's been all those things, or like Jess Hotel stuff. You know, when Jess Hotel, you know, were doing a regular album that sounded like Metallica 15 years before, right?
Yeah.
Where you go like, oh. And then, you know, you could devastate your neighborhood with like Ted Nugent Live Gonzo, right? If you played it loud enough. Yeah. Or Kiss Alive 2, Kiss Alive 1, and all that stuff, you know, that was accumulating, that was coming, or Gillen, you know, whatever, first solo record, Mr. Universe, or what. Stuff. Aerosmith. I saw Aerosmith when I was, I think, 14 or whatever in a theater in Hamburg for 5 marks, and so on and so on and so on. What have you?
Well, that's interesting. You normally you have
metal hero. I don't know.
That's interesting. Normally, you don't see some of those inspirations behind especially a metal musician. Normally, it's all just sort of the traditional stuff. But hearing stuff like Elton John or like the Who or even the Beatles, because I know a lot of people.
Yeah. But I
say,
mean, there were also the Supremes, right, or anything else like Terry Como or Elvis or whoever was there. You know, Neil Diamond. Come on. Huh? Come on, man.
Let me just see if there's any other questions I had here written down.
What about Smokey?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Kenny or Mark, right? These guys, all these teeny bands, Susie Quattro, Slade.
Slade's definitely a one that I think people forget a little bit about, just because they think that they're the Quiet Riot cover and then that's it. But Slade,
No.
yeah,
They were some of the freaking best songwriters ever. Yeah.
well, I think that should do it for the interview. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk to me. And make sure to, for everybody out there, I'm recording this also. Sorry. So make sure for everybody to go out and get Helloween on June 18th from Nuclear Blast Records, and go check out the new singles Skyfall and Fear of the Fallen. So Michael, thank you for having me, and thank you for talking to me today.
Yeah, thanks for your interest and everything. Thanks for the support of the American fans.
Okay, that was our interview with Michael Weikath of Helloween. Make sure you guys go check out their new album, the self-titled Helloween, on June 18th from Nuclear Blast Records. You can get it anywhere you get your CDs, Best Buy, Amazon, wherever you want. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the THS YouTube page, because it really helps us out. And you can see more heavy metal content, more heavy metal reviews, more heavy metal interviews here on THS. So you have a great day, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.